Hello. So I want to make sure. Oh, maybe that's why. It shouldn't be, but he's up now. So, um, I don't really necessarily feel like going downstairs. But welcome. I'm just kind of getting up for the day while waking up slowly. I haven't been up long. But my neuropathy and arthritis felt like it was going to keep me awake. And also, I was thinking a little bit about the day. Hopefully, comments will come through because I was just looking at the other device. I set this up as I normally do, and it said comments were turned off. So I'm not too sure what that's about. Um, I'm curious to see if my other device does say that actually. So maybe I will go back down. Maybe I will go downstairs for a moment. Uh, but um, um, basically, yeah, it's early, but since I am not able to stream during the day right now, um, and sometimes it feels like a long wait until the evening when I do, um, I figured I'd come and do one while I have a bit of time. Um, yeah, so um, there was something else I was gonna say, but like I said, my brain's just kind of activating for the day. Um, but yeah, so basically, I figured I'd do that. Oh, and I was also thinking about um, the kind of the day that I have planned, and thinking, although I am going to be out and about briefly and around others, um, it's largely, except for whatever I happen to do online. Uh, it's largely going to be um, not a super social day. So that's the topic. Is um, and because we've had somebody watching consistently, I'm thinking you might be commenting and I might not be seeing it. And now I'm thinking of potatoes. So I guess I'm gonna. And I know that sounds weird, but I have a follower whose name is Potato, who goes by Potato on here, and that's all I know them by. And it's a cat named Bacon. You know, it makes sense, doesn't it? and um, I can only ever see their comments, although I would think I'd be getting a like as well. But let me go get the laptop. I wasn't gonna, but it'll work fine. Ooh. I want this on later, maybe. Um. So yeah, so I was thinking. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Although that was almost consistently this 5 minutes. I know not a long time, but somebody there, and the thing I was gonna do. Oh, right, those crackers. Yeah, I kind of like that. Some of this too, just for something to have. But I'm trying to get the connections in my head. I don't have a really good lunch, and then nachos. Hope we don't have wraps at the moment, but maybe I should go pick some up today. That's right. Sorry, I'm just quickly doing something as I came down to get my laptop. Um, So anyway, so yeah, I was thinking about it and I thought, yeah, I mean, the other thing I did remember though is that there is a couple that I follow. I'm just gonna bring my laptop upstairs. That'll be easier. Um, and I know I watch, things would happen on this device especially. And I'm bringing it up there, and I'm gonna be up there now. But hopefully, I have some nice company on here and other associations other than sleep with them. Because, health symptoms weren't super distracting me, but it was a little noticeable. So okay, let me just come to the computer here. Fort. Okay. Um, okay, right. So, yeah, because I'm going to be watching for potatoes comments. Let me just see that too, because that might tell me until we get comments if comments are on. Um, so I'm just loading this up on the computer as well, just to see if I see the comment section. Because on the other device I didn't. It was weird. Like I say, I set this up the same way I did then. I usually do. Because yeah, the Anchor place that I go to now is definitely not as social as the one I used to. And even if it was, I'd probably want to come back and talk about it. In some ways, I don't mind that it's a quick experience and it's pretty relaxing, and I'm just hoping for the best. But and it is the best option I think that we have at the moment. I can get there. Helps regardless. Okay, it's being very slow. Part of me thinks I could have quick, but like it's already, already only got half an hour now. Like the time's going fast anyway, so. And considering how long it would take me to fall back asleep, uh, even though it was only very briefly up, I mostly don't think that I would, so. That's the other thing, is I might see him here. But my step is going to be doing a repair on my bike while we're out. And since he's already looked at it once, at least it sounds like he is going to, if he's got the part, then he can just do it. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be hanging around that long when we get back, if at all. I'm trying to get this to open up on the computer as well, and it's being slow. Here we go, I think. Hesitant to... I kind of just think, look at that one way, and then if I see the comment section there, or I get comments in the process of trying to do this, I'll know it's working. So, I wish that was a better topic to kind of get me talking while I'm reading. But we got a uni sticker saying tea or coffee hot in our winters. Although I don't go out every day. Go hot, of course. Tea, though, I can drink cold and not mind it. It's weird. But I certainly don't like coffee that way. Right, I don't have this thing out. He's got a cat. And we were going to go there on the weekend anyway, so no. So yeah, that'll be fine, actually. Here we go, finally. So, let's see here. Trying to open this up on the computer, and it's finally bringing success. It may have said comments were turned off because while it's live, it doesn't count chat as that, maybe. I don't always look. See, that's the thing. Sometimes I'm just using the cell phone. Well, actually, I do, kind of. I've been trying to remember to follow it on the computer, just, you know. It's so weird about that feeling, but at the same time, it's kind of like, been enjoying chatting with him, so I mean, if it works, and that's the main thing. So let me just, but what it wasn't doing is loading the chat that I recall. So just let me look at that for a moment here. But yeah, so basically, um, there's a live streamer that streams a couple times a week at fairly consistency. Um, so I'm thinking we'll probably talk with them, and that's usually a good time. And see, there's two of them there, and I don't know. Maybe it was just that it was a little bit quiet and slow, and I kind of just landed in my thoughts. I think that's possibly really what it was. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but like I don't know. I wasn't feeling engaged. But and it's not that the streamer is not engaging. But that's just how I kind of happened the other day. But Mike and Kelly are quite engaging, and so is their chat. So hopefully that feature is working properly. It does look like it. It does look like it probably is. What I see. So yeah, that's the topic I thought of for this morning. If there's something else you'd like to talk about, I'm mostly okay doing so. But the different types of. Okay, I'll wait till there's someone here. It's not a flash. Well, I can't guarantee they're not going to be, but that person flashed away. Chapstick if you're curious. Chapstick if you're not. The different types of communicate, like different types of. I don't know if my wording's great, but communication settings and your needs and how you feel you do with them and what your needs are um, in them. So some of the different settings that I could think of uh, are obviously online and in person, but like we could say that as in like bosses and coworkers, uh, uh, strangers, friends, family. Those are different kinds of settings that I'm thinking. I will say though that chat on this device, well, when I was in the other tab for a moment, it did seem to be okay. Here we go. That was nice to see that come in, even if it was my comment. This one just seems to be a bit quieter. Hopefully, I'll help with that shortly. My phones are very, really slow. Computers can't be though, that's for sure. Chopstick if you're curious, chopstick if you're not. Because I have anemia. And that's largely why I feel like I need it, so. So we have two people just tuned in, and yeah. So if I think about those areas, I'm actually going to add to that with the categories because I don't know. I think it should be obvious, but I don't know if it is. So just a moment, I'm going to adjust that. So we got, what did I say? Co-workers, strangers, spam, friends. Like, it's interesting to think because there's a real person behind, like, those rare times when we see trolls. It's interesting to think, what are they like, the person? I've heard that a lot of people say that they are they are very much the same in person as they are online, and I don't know how one couldn't be, to be honest, for the most part. So, so I can touch on these in the list briefly, but then I'd really like some communication. I don't have a lot of time at the moment, but I had some. So, like, come on, people. I've only got half an hour here. um, Nobody's watching at the moment, but let's see here. So online, with people who are good at it as well, or at least decent at it. So am I. Um, Co-workers, I don't really have any right now. Most of the kind of people in the random category is online these days. I mean, I'm thinking about someone who I'm likely to see today, although I can't for sure say that she's going to be the one that's there. Um, and she tries to make small talk. Like one time, she asked me if I'd done anything interesting this week. I said no, not really, but I guess it depends what you call interesting. But I said normally I don't. I mean, that being said, it's an interesting question. I mean, it's just something she thought to say, I guess. Um, it's an interesting question to ask somebody who's coming for because it's kind of like you probably don't have a lot of money to do that many things that are interesting. That being said, and I don't know where the tab is, so I should do it in this one, I suppose. Um, I remember I put it in a playlist, but I don't remember. I wandered off from that, and I feel like it's that way, but it must be that way. And is it this tab, this window? It might not be. I don't know. What color? Actually, I kind of like my toothbrush color. It's kind of an odd question, but it's kind of a light green and white. I don't know how that's much of a topic or why that's all that interesting, but I like the props. Um, but yeah, if anybody has suggestions for things to do that wouldn't cost a lot of money, I'd be open to hearing them. So, and nothing too wild. I mean, maybe a little, but because I am looking for that kind of stuff, some like this and that. But I talked about the fam front, and that one's an interesting one because um, I went in tune very, very with John, and then with the And yeah, that's where my head goes first because it makes most sense for it to. Um, with the few that I do communicate with, unfortunately, I have to kind of be a little bit guarded, for lack of a different way of putting it. Um, and then friends, I mean, I feel embarrassed every time I mention it, but at the same time, I think most of us will go through this, and so it's not necessarily that uncommon to say um, that um, or it's we go through long stretches in life where I feel like most of us will probably experience times of very socially active life and times where it's a bit quieter. So yeah, on the one category, there's not a ton to say. If I was to look back a while, or like back in time, I mean, personally, again, if the people were easy to communicate with, and most of them are or were, um, I don't usually struggle. Now, it does bring up the interesting topic of that some people say can affect communication style. A lot of things can, and that's another part as well. Like headspace, um, stress, included in that. Um, but also, um, sorry, I'm watching for potato, but I don't have a lot of time to do so. And I think if they came in, it'd be a like and somebody staying here more for a while. I'd almost thought it was the case right at the beginning, but well, this is helping the time fly, that's for sure. Mind it usually goes pretty quick, and actually the lighting I don't mind either. So for the fact that it's still dark outside and I didn't want the full light on because I am just waking up for the most part. So I have this little side light on and it's fine. Um, so I was almost going to switch. It looked like potato. But then again, I wish, see, I'd rather, I feel so weird saying it that way. That's why I'd rather anyway, I think it should, or the individual, I'd rather have a name for it. I think that they should be comfortable enough with me by now. So hopefully I find that out soon. That's the thing also is, as part of it is comfortability. But yeah, if we talk about autism spectrum, that can supposedly have an effect on things as well. With with one or more than one people involved having it, Um, I'm not too sure exactly what to say on it. Like, I'm on the spectrum, but and I'm pretty self-aware, and I've been told that. But I'm also human, so maybe sometimes I'm not noticing, or it depends on the other people involved as well. But I think that I am pretty. And if Kathleen sees this, yes, I might email you back. I almost didn't know what to say, but then I did. There's just one chunk that is still near the bottom that I might still look at. But um, I don't have a ton of time, but I've got a little bit more, and we can certainly talk on this video afterwards as people. But yeah, it's kind of like I don't think that myself being on the autism spectrum, I struggle with it all that much. Communication. I think I communicate pretty well. The best method is in video, which is the closest to in person, which would be the other best method. Um, I personally think I communicate fairly well in writing, although I've heard some people say otherwise. But um, those people, I think, are people that are not, for possibly legit reasons, not focusing very well, a little bit rushed, maybe struggling being in their own head. Um, which, I'm not necessarily judging, because those kind of things do happen. But yeah, but for me, I don't feel like that affects. But I'd be curious for other people, and if it's after the fact that this is posted, then that's fine too. I'd be curious, you know, what you what you might want to say on that, and uh, you'd be saying it on a place where there's no judgment, where I am fairly actively monitoring, monitoring whatever word you want to say, what's coming through. And as long as after the fact it's giving me notifications correctly, then I'll see them. As distracted as I can be, I've got the time and I've got the curiosity, and I will see them. And yeah, it's I'd be curious to hear. Sometimes I wonder if just someone knowing that they themselves struggle with autism or have autism, or um, that somebody else does, it's almost like automatically thinking that there's going to be a communication thing. Oh, the other topic could be, the other topic within this could be group settings, but that can kind of fit into some of the other ones too. Um, yeah, so uh, and then there's different things within that too. Even like there can be when I used to go to different in-person groups. What was the word I used to use? I'm gonna say um, formatted, because I can't. I'm not sure if I'm remembering the word that I used to use, but like structured. But sometimes kind of loosely so. There was one time, I don't remember it strongly, and it was a while ago, but there was one time I was at such a thing, and I felt like it had needed more structure. But, I also don't mind kind of things just being free, and, you know, as far as, yeah. And, you can feel the natural flow of things. Um, and that's good too. So, um, and I'm also thinking of an interesting one, and it combines some of these that I'm mentioning, like the friends, in person, and groups. Those three for sure. I'm thinking back to my karaoke days, for instance, and it's still, I feel, a blessing that when I started going to this one particular place, I was introduced, and I honestly do feel kind of mixed about kind of reconnecting with it. For a while, I was really wanting it, especially after the friend had passed away. But I was introduced to the person who hosted it, the girl who hosted the thing, and it sounds like they just had new management that hadn't been that familiar with her, and she kind of did go off to other places of employment, but and she had been getting to know some of the. I don't know if she knew them otherwise somehow, or just from there. She's the type of person that wouldn't have mattered. She would have been happy to have had you sit in her little hosting corner. And again, feel the feels, if this resonates with someone you might have known. Uh, um, but it may have been a combination. Sometimes some people brought people too, but rarely. It was the same bunch for the most part. I mean, every now and then one or two or so weren't there, But it was, I'm surprised for so I really am. Um, and that was an interesting context where when I look back at it, I mean, it was more years than it feels like it was. But when I look back at it, it's kind of like, thanks for the like, by the way. I don't really remember a lot of specific conversations, but we could say that so often in life. Like, is there a conversation that you had with somebody, or more than one, if you'd like to say, and I don't know why the like was taken away or if that was intentional, but that you've always remembered? I'm going to have to think on that one. Like I say, I haven't been awake very long, and I'm not sure at the moment. I don't remember, except for like recent ones on here, or heck, I don't even remember if I remember any of the ones I've had with G recently. Well, there is that. Yeah, I mean, and of course, if we're able to reference it, that's helpful. Like digitally. Um, but like she was multitasking. She was queuing up the song lists, uh, but then also chit chatting, and people would come up to not only request a song, although they could simply just write it down, but maybe they had a specific question. I can't think of what that would be at the moment, but yeah, did you mean to unlike out of curiosity? Anyway, and if so, why? But you're still here, and I appreciate it, but I do have to wrap up soon. Anyway, and then she'd talk with the other people that, myself included, once, sometimes twice a week. I feel like they changed it to once a week. But it had, yeah, I feel like, because otherwise I would have kept going. There was rarely a time, unless I was sick, there was rarely a time I didn't go. Um, for because I enjoyed it, and even though it wasn't a club, but I was younger then, I was younger, and I don't know. I've heard mixed things about the ones closest by, the karaoke joints, but I'd like to check them out maybe. But anyway, so that's how I really met this friend, by the way, and I don't, and I'm still thankful, even though she's since passed. I'm still thankful that I did. Um, but that was kind of like, I want to say it was often kind of small talk, and I know some people aren't a fan of small talk, but I wonder if everybody defines it similarly, or how people define it. Um, but then also, I'm sure every now and then it got deep. Like at that point in time in my life, or for a while there, I was in a distance relationship, so that sometimes came up. Um, I was more actively involved in different things, so there was different things to talk about. Just a moment. But yeah, so basically, I'm sorry if any of you are putting comments that I'm not seeing. I do welcome you to comment this once it's posted too. You might just have to wait 10 or 15 minutes for it to be commentable. However, energy-wise, because I haven't been up for very long, and kind of just the way the mornings go here, I don't have a ton more time. So, but I like this topic that I brought up, and I hope to hear from some of you on it. Since you, the two that are here now, especially the one, but kind of both, are kind of getting this nearer the end of it. Thank you for the third like, though. Um, I don't know if that was the one that was there before or somebody else, but I appreciate it. It's been a bit quiet, if people are wondering. The algs haven't been super helpful, um, and there's a lot of stuff being posted on here on this site, right? But also, I have only been rolling 36 minutes. And like I say, I do have to wrap up and do something else in a moment. Okay, that third like went again. I don't know what's going on there. I remember a couple times there was times where there was people in the chat and they were telling me how many likes they were seeing on their end, and it did not match how many I saw on mine. It was more than. So, I mean, but I'm seeing that third one come and go. I don't know if they're just like, oh, I like what he said there, and then undoing it till the next time you like what I say. Is that what you're doing? I'm not sure. And if you're putting comments, like I say, none are showing up. But hopefully after it's posted, I should see them without any difficulty. Um, so yes, I'm going to be wrapping up very soon here. But yeah, I think this was a pretty good topic, actually. It was interesting to see what kind of came out from it, and so much more could have if there'd been more chat. But like I say, I don't have. The thing is, I kind of do, but I don't. I don't have the device that's working to do it on with me all day. I'm borrowing it. Uh, um, and I do have to briefly go out later today, but otherwise I'm home. I got time. But so that is something though that I'm looking forward to socializing with my friends, maybe more than one. I'm thinking if Dave's on, even though I know sometimes that mixed things, but I'm not doing one. I know sometimes the pace of his goes slow, but sometimes the pace of mine goes slow. I'll probably chat there, and then Martin Kelly. So, which will remind me to look at the together. So, I think this morning, even though I feel mixy, I've kind of been sort of this topic, I like it, but I'm mixy about it too. As in, like, it gives me mixed feelings. But as far as like, thinking about like my my life a little while back, and as far as thinking, yeah, like my karaoke days, for instance, and connections that I had more then, but didn't really keep in touch with since then, and you know, um, nobody except for somebody else who's got a lot of health issues going on right now really jumps out as someone I would reconnect with, other than the host. Like, if we could go back, in person, um, it would have been interesting to see if we'd hung out more often, how her passing would have affected me. It has affected me deeply, but thankfully I do feel her around spiritually. And, you know, I mean, I did hang out with her a few times, but anyway, and we talked quite a bit online. It all mattered. It all mattered, and anyway, so on behalf of my friend and myself, I don't know what point in your day you're in, and now we got three of you here, and I welcome you all here. I unfortunately do have to wrap up soon, but I welcome you to check out some of the other live streams that I posted, and we can talk there. But on behalf of and myself, um, I wish you a great rest of your day. I hope that we may talk soon. Um, and yeah, I hope that things are going well in your life. But if you're having struggles, thanks for the third like. If you're having struggles, I do welcome you to. And then it gets taken away again. What is with that third like? It does not want to stick. It's so weird. Anyway, I'd really like the person who's doing that. It feels like it's the same person. I'd really like it if you could explain that to me a little bit. And if you are putting it in the comments, I'm not seeing any comments show up. I'm not sure why. But again, once this is posted, um, the option is there, and I will likely see them then, hopefully. So, yeah, I look forward to chatting with you on the topic. And again, we're here for each other. There's the third like again. I don't know if it's from one of the other two people or the one who keeps giving it, taking it. I don't know what's going. I don't know if that's intentional or not. But anyway, and yes, I think it seems like it was. Anyway, if it's head games, ask yourself. I mean, it's okay to have a sense of humor in this and that, but ask yourself, why? You know, and does it feel right to do that? Because I'm not one for head games. I'm one to have a bit of a sense of humor in conversation, and to have a good time in conversation. But like if that's the reason that you're doing it is just for head games, then I'm not here for that. Anyway, wrapping this up again with, if you need any support on anything you're going through, as long as it's nothing super intense, it's just traumas, you know, we're here for you. Um, thanks for the, dare I say, thanks for the third like again. And otherwise, yeah, I hope you just have a great rest of your day. And there goes the third